Hello, folks. I see we are joining. Welcome, welcome.
Yeah. All right, we're going to give this a couple minutes for people to pop in and then we'll get started.
Awesome. Just let me know when you would like me to get started. And I'm so happy to see that folks are already populating.
Yeah.
So welcome.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and kick things off. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our March Business Bytes meeting. We are so excited to have Luz Estrada. I'm sorry, did I mispronounce your name?
No, you're fine.
Gonzalez with us. She is the Triple Point Facilitator and Family Support Specialist with Children's Home Society, and she is going to be taking over here momentarily. So we are so excited to have you guys. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And yeah, so again, this is Luz Estrada Gonzalez with Children's Home Society, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to you, Luz.
All righty. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody that has joined us. Happy almost April. And looking at the time, it is happy afternoon. Thank you so much, Jeanette and Camille and the North Central Washington Tech Allegiance for having me here today. I see that it is being recorded. So that is always great. So then folks can watch it for some other time. So I'm Luz Estrada Gonzalez, and I will go ahead. I will be presenting here momentarily. Let me just get my screen to do what I want. If you just joined us, hello, welcome. Hopefully you can see my screen. So I will start. Hi, everyone. I will be presenting about the Triple Point NCW program. We'll learn a little bit more about that in a bit. But beforehand, I work for Children's Home Society of Washington, which is a local nonprofit here in the Wenatchee Valley and also in East Wenatchee. We're housed in Wenatchee and East Wenatchee. The program is housed through this nonprofit, and the nonprofit Children's Home Society of Washington offers some awesome services such as children and family counseling. We have wraparound intensive services, truancy services, foster care services, and many, many other services that Children's Home Society of Washington offers youth, families, and their communities. So my name is Luz Estrada Gonzalez. I am the Triple Point Facilitator and Family Support Specialist. I use she, they pronouns. Feel free to use those interchangeably, or if you need practice using they, them pronouns, I'd be more than happy to be that person for you. So jumping right in, brief history of Triple Point. Triple Point began in 1996. That is 20 plus years now. And it originally began at Vancouver, Washington, so our location in Vancouver. And at its inception, the Triple Point program has been providing support for LGBTQ plus youth. So that is lesbian, gay, bi, trans, questioning plus youth. And how they would provide support was by providing support groups, a place where youth can connect with each other, providing individual and family counseling through Children's Home Society, and providing trainings for adult allies. So that would be our creating safe spaces trainings. I will touch on the support group, counseling, and also the training aspect in later slides. Triple Point is the only specific LGBTQ plus programming that targets these youth in Clark, Walla Walla, and now North Central Washington counties for middle school and high school age youth. I have been at my role for about a year and a half. So Triple Point NCW has existed or has been a creation for about a year and a half. I was onboarded in November 2020. So that's how long it's existed for in our region. Well, what is Triple Point NCW? As I mentioned, Children's Home Society of Washington is where the program is housed. So, and where it is funded as well. It is a program for LGBTQ plus, lesbian, gay, bi, trans, queer, questioning, plus, and plus just means all additional identities. So I know that the definition that you see on screen is not all the identities that fall under the LGBTQ plus community. So there's many other identities. I know working with youth that I learn about identities all the time, identities that I've never heard of, and I'm part of the community. And so Google is my friend in those circumstances. But our program serves LGBTQ plus youth ages 12 to 18 that live or reside in Chelan, Douglas, Grant, and Okanagan counties. How we go about serving these youth is we provide a weekly drop-in support group where youth can build leadership skills, access behavioral health because of the services that we offer or counseling services, learn about community resources. I have presenters come over and present their resource or education presenters and also receive support. In the end, our support groups are for youth to build community and kind of know that their spaces are safe spaces. These are done virtually, which I will touch on later, and also in person, which is super exciting because that is new. That is something that is occurring this year. And then the program provides counseling to LGBTQ plus youth. This is for youth that identifies LGBTQ plus of all ages. I'll touch more on that later. And of course, we provide support and resources for LGBTQ plus youth and their families, no matter what age. If there's a family who outreaches to me that needs resources and their youth doesn't fall into the category of 12 to 18, I would, of course, still provide whatever support I can. And same goes for youth as well. Some exciting Triple Point NCW news. We will be starting our in-person support group in 2022. It will actually be next month, which is super exciting. Originally, Triple Point their support groups were in person, but because of COVID, it transitioned virtually, which wasn't a bad thing. I think we realized that it was so necessary to be in the virtual space for youth that can't attend in person. So we are starting an in-person support group. This will be in Wenatchee at the YMCA Teen Center, Wednesdays 4:30 to 6 p.m. And it will start on the 13th, which is super exciting. I'm super stoked. And then it will be Wednesdays after that, same time, same location for LGBTQ plus youth ages 12 to 18. We will have snacks, raffle, and some rainbow swag for the youth, and also paperwork in case they haven't filled it out before they show up. That being said, though, we will maintain our virtual support group, which is Tuesdays from 4:30 to 5 p.m. And the reasoning behind that was because, well, I have youth in Moses Lake, I have youth in Cooley City, I have youth in Brewster, I have youth in Quincy, I have youth all over North Central Washington. And I think it would be unfair to ask them to come just for 1 hour and a half once a week and take that drive if they're even able to get that drive. So we don't want to take away this very necessary resource. So we want to keep it virtual for them. That being said, though, Triple Point is not able to function without volunteers. So I'm looking for volunteers all the time for my in-person group and my virtual group. So if you're interested, if you'd love to create a space for LGBTQ plus youth, be it in person or virtually, I will drop my information in the chat, and it will also be in later slides, and I'd be happy to answer any questions around volunteering. We also like to hold raffles. So earlier this year, we held a Switch raffle with a video game, and that was really awesome. We got youth to show up, incentivize them, and also they get something out of group, and then they realize, oh, this group is awesome. I like being here. So if you would like to make any donations, please also contact me. That being said, though, how do you sign up for the Triple Point NCW support group? Well, most of the time, youth are referring themselves to me. So they would contact me at this number and at the email that you see on screen. I will also drop it in the chat when I'm able to. Or the person referring the youth contacts me and they give me the youth's phone number or email, and I kind of go and contact the youth that way. Before youth can join group, whether it's in person or virtually, they must fill out paperwork. This is just for safety and also confidentiality. So this paperwork can be sent through mail or email. If the youth is 13 to 18 years old, they don't require any parent signature or email. They are accessing the services on their own accord. So they would fill out the paperwork themselves. If a parent would like to fill out the paperwork with the youth, I encourage it, but safety is always the number one priority. And then if the youth is 12, they do require parent signature and email, which I do acknowledge is a barrier to services. And the paperwork can be filled out in English or Spanish, which is pretty cool. Well, we got the youth in the group. What will it look like? This is kind of the same, will be kind of the same format for the virtual and in person. The volunteers and I facilitate the meeting. We show up a little bit before, so a little bit before 4:30 and a little bit in person and virtually. And the volunteers have been screened through Children's Home Society, have gone through the volunteer process. They've been through questions and they are pretty safe for the youth, or are safe and create safe spaces for the youth. We facilitate the meeting just by being an extra ear and just being a person there for the youth if it is necessary. We read the group agreements, which are just our group rules, just a nicer way to say group rules out loud. And then we all introduce ourselves. So that can be as simple as name, age, pronouns, and an up and a down. And then it's finally activity time. So that can be two truths and a lie, scavenger hunt, show and tell, open conversation, a support group topic if the youth would like to talk about something a little bit more support group oriented, like pronouns or how to choose a name, something around those areas. Or we could have a presenter. So I had recently had the Northwest College of Art and Design present for my virtual support group. That was really cool. It can be education, career. I had somebody that was an actor for the Valley and has been doing theater for a long time present to the youth. That was awesome. And also employment. I know I had somebody from Skill Source present and they really enjoyed that as well. I think the same will be for the in-person support group, maybe a little bit less facilitated, just because youth are able to go into their groups and talk and build those more structural relationships in person. But we will have presenters. So if you're interested, reach out to me. Here is our virtual support group flyer in English and Spanish. Here is our in-person support group flyer, which is super exciting. We start on the 13th, 2020. I'm really excited, as I said. It'll be Wednesdays from 4:30 to 6 p.m. for 12 to 18-year-olds. All right. I did mention that Triple Point also offers mental health services. So these services are offered at no cost to LGBTQ plus teens who don't have Medicaid or don't have insurance, or who are underinsured. And it's also offered for free to LGBTQ plus folks who do have insurance, but it wouldn't be safe to use their current insurance or the insurance they have under their parents. And that could be maybe their parents don't want them to access counseling services. Maybe they just don't feel safe talking about LGBTQ plus related topics with their current insurance. So that would qualify them for the free counseling. Before a youth can access or can receive these counseling services, a counseling referral form is filled out, or the youth can contact me for the service. Counseling referral form can be filled out by anybody, or if it would be easiest, a youth would contact me, or the person referring the youth contacts me and I fill out the form for them. The referral is then sent to my counseling team, and an intake paperwork for counseling is sent to the youth. And then after that, an intake appointment is scheduled and they can start counseling. We want to decrease depression, decrease stigmatization, and also provide a safe and affirming space for the youth with a safe and affirming counselor from Children's Home Society of Washington. We also offer our Triple Point LGBTQ plus anti-stigma training or creating safe space training. The training can be provided to schools, organizations, community partners, etc. I've done trainings through NCESD. I've done trainings for FIRE, so that is the Foundation for Youth Resilience and Advancement, or in OMAC, and also for family health centers and the CDCAC as well. So anybody that's willing to have the training or wants the training, I'm more than happy to provide it to them. It is about 90 minutes long, with 60 minutes being training, which covers pronouns, definitions, misgendering, being a better ally, how to be a better ally, and then about 30 minutes or so for Q&A. That being said, I can tailor the training if there are specific topics that would be better for you all, or specific topics that we'd like to touch on or really dig into. I'm more than happy to have that conversation. The training does cost a fee, and that does provide funding for the Triple Point program, but we are able to waive the cost for exchange of information or a training. So I gave a training to a local community organization, and instead of paying for the training, they decided that would be best to exchange training information. So then they came to Children's Home Society of Washington and provided some information on their services, and that is awesome. I love that exchange. What are the goals with this training? Well, the goals is to create safer spaces for LGBTQ plus youth and folks, coordinating with community partners and building partnerships. Once we know that these spaces are safe for LGBTQ plus folks, it is easier to kind of do warm handoff or tell them about resources because I've worked with them directly, and also to develop awareness of challenges that LGBTQ plus folks and youth face. So jumping right in, I've talked a lot about the services that Triple Point offers, but I also wanted to touch on what can one do right now, currently, within our everyday lives, but also within the institutions that we live in to create safer spaces. First off, I want to define what an ally is. An ally is a person who supports LGBTQ plus rights, counters discrimination against LGBTQ plus people, and challenges homophobia and transphobia. Homophobia being the fear of homosexual folks or folks who identify as LGBTQ plus, and then transphobia being fear of folks who identify as trans or transgender. So what can you do with that definition in mind? You can respect the person's preferred name and pronouns. So just doing that simply, it's such a small thing that makes a huge difference for LGBTQ plus youth and folks. You can introduce yourself with your name and pronouns like I did in the beginning. Doing that kind of lets folks know right away you are a safe person, you're a person that doesn't assume pronouns, you're a person that doesn't assume gender, and you are a person that they can have those conversations with or feel safe around. And also, you can engage honestly. If you don't know, it's okay to not know. It's okay to say that you don't know. Nobody expects anybody to be an expert on everything, and just being honest is really important to hear. What else can you do? Well, you can express genuine understanding and affirmation for LGBTQ plus identities, experiences, and expressions. You don't necessarily have to know every definition or know every identity, but just being the person that validates somebody or that validates those experiences and those expressions is life-changing, does make a difference for the folks' lives who identify as LGBTQ plus. You can advocate for inclusive and affirming policies, be it in whatever environment you're in or in the greater outside of our communities. You can ensure that folks have access to gender neutral spaces or facilities. So gender neutral bathrooms, gender neutral locker rooms, just anything that you can make gender neutral that is usually gendered is a great way to be an ally or something that we can actively do for LGBTQ plus folks. And then you can connect LGBTQ plus folks with community supports and resources such as Triple Point. You can also outreach to me if you're looking for specific resources for clients or folks and the like. And then you can ensure that all non-discrimination statements explicitly include gender identity, gender expression, and sexual orientation. I also wanted to share really quickly some quotes from Triple Point Youth. So I know right now our group is virtual, so it's just an hour a week from 4:30 to 5:30 on Tuesdays, but just having that hour does make a huge change for these folks' lives or these youth's lives. So we could just take a moment to kind of read what creating safe spaces within our North Central Washington community creates from young folks. I know that some of these quotes kind of make me emotional. I know when I was reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Just an hour a week of just being able to create that space for them really does make a difference in their lives. Awesome. All righty. Thank you so much. Here's my contact information once again. I will drop that in the chat. And there's also our Facebook page. I post information about the program. I post events that are occurring. I post other things, also educational pieces from other places. So if you're looking for a great local resource for LGBTQ plus folks to follow, support, and also learn more about, I will drop that information in the chat. So that leaves with that, I will conclude the presentation. Questions, comments, thoughts, ideas, we are new, so anything and everything is more than welcome. So thank you so much, folks, and I will stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Luz, for sharing all of that. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and open up the Q&A. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop those in there. I will actually go ahead and start. I know that you mentioned that you offer anti-stigma training to schools and organizations. So for any schools or organizations who might be considering going through that training, how would they go about signing up for that?
Yeah, so that is kind of, like I said, the training is about 90 minutes, 60 minutes with the training, 30 minutes with the Q&A. So I would want to get in contact with them. They could contact me through email or phone, and then I would then set up a time to meet or get on the phone virtually or in person. And we kind of talk about what is it they're looking for? Do they want the training as it is? Is there something more specific? Setting up a time and a date. So that's kind of what it would look like. It's just getting in contact with me, and then we would set up when that would be occurring and what that would look like.
Very cool. Thank you. And for any perhaps youth or maybe even a parent who might be considering joining your support group, but might be a little hesitant about it, is there any advice that you would offer them?
Yeah, so I think for me, it would be come scope it out, come try it out. I think that a lot of the time it is that like first anxiety of joining something is so scary. But once you come, I always tell my youth, like, you're free to show up late, you're free to come like show up late, leave early, figure it's a drop-in support group so they can come and go as they please. But a lot of the time, just that first anxiety of joining a group or accessing the service, whatever that might be, whatever reason that might be, it's once they are in the space and they realize, oh, this is such an affirming, inviting space, they love sticking around. But also, if they come and they figure out this isn't for me, that's okay, as long as they know that there's this resource for them. And I always tell youth, like, maybe you aren't interested in the support group or the counseling services that we offer, and parents as well. But, just having my contact information for if they require resources or have questions in the future, I think is just as important.
Very nice. We do have a question in the chat. It says, can you tell me a little bit about how businesses can start the dialogue and process of talking about using pronouns, and how non-LGBTQ individuals can add pronouns to their names to support inclusivity?
Yeah, of course. So kind of the conversation around pronouns. I will state first off, that can be a lot to tackle for some folks. But for me, it's just finding those folks within your organization that have kind of, it takes a village, it takes a community, and just starting those conversations, welcoming people in. I did a presentation where they asked, like, what do we do when people aren't affirming or aren't welcoming or don't support LGBTQ plus folks? I would state, put your energy, your safety, and your emotional capacity first. But after that, I would then kind of see if there are any higher ups that are able to support you in that endeavor, kind of facilitate the conversation around that, and also outreaching to me, if this wasn't a good answer, I know that happens sometimes, but outreaching to me, we can always come up with different answers, or working together to figure out a way to kind of go into the organization or the space that you're working at and kind of having that dialogue, that conversation with folks. And then as for how do we include pronouns? Well, it is pretty simple, but also a radical act, right? So a lot of the time when we're in presentations, we have the option to rename ourselves. So like in Zoom, we could rename ourselves. You go to our little cube or rectangle, and we have those 3 little dots. We go to rename, and we can add our pronouns that way. For everyday use, like our emails, I would just add it like at the end of your name on your signature, just like Luz Estrada or whatever name it is you have, and then just add pronouns kind of at the end. And it is really small, but folks notice that. And then as well, like on your social media, adding it to your social media if you're able to, just any little place or space that you're able to. I know a lot of social media allows you to do that already. Like it gives it as an option when you're filling out information about yourself. Hopefully that answered your question. If not, let me know.
Thank you. Do we have a little more time for a couple more questions? All right, seeing none. All right, well, thank you so much, Luz, for presenting today and for joining us. It's been a treat hearing from you, and it's good to know that this is a service out there that we can share about. So for anyone who is listening and would like to know more information, Luz has dropped her information in the chat, which we will share out also in our follow-up. So thank you again, Luz. And with that, I am going to go ahead and share my screen here. We at NCW Tech also have some pretty exciting events coming up. For example, our happy hour is coming up on Thursday, April 7th in Moses Lake at 10 Pin Tap House. So if you're in the Moses Lake area, or even if you aren't and would like to join us, please do. This is a fun opportunity to get to know us a little bit and also enjoy a beverage in the process. It's a great networking opportunity. We also have a cyber meetup coming up on Thursday, April 15th. This is a monthly event as well. And it's designed for businesses, education, technology, and community partners to come together for collaborative learning and discussion on tech topics. So we encourage you to join us for that as well. And we also have a panel coming up dedicated to funding for entrepreneurs. This will be on April 21st from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. So we encourage you to join us for this as well. So if you have any interest in knowing how to, get some funding for if you're an entrepreneur and would like to learn more, we have local experts who will be joining us to discuss various sources of financing for entrepreneurs. And this will be held at the Pybus Event Center in the local event room in Pybus. We also have our monthly industry tour coming up for April on April 29th. This will be held also in Moses Lake. So we're excited to get back out there to join Automated Egg and take a tour of their facility and learn more about their business. And of course, if you have been around our NCW Tech Alliance for long, we have our annual event called the Flywheel Investment Conference. This is coming up on May 19th, and we're so excited as this will be our biggest year yet. So we hope you join us for that. Tickets are on sale through the 1st, so that's this week. So make sure you pick up your tickets now for that early bird 20% off discount code. And with that, thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Thank you again, Luz, for presenting. It's been a pleasure having you on. And if you have any questions about the presentation today or just questions for us in general, please feel free to reach out to us at ncwtech.org or Luz through her contact information as well. So with that, thank you, everyone, and we'll go ahead and wrap up from there.
Yes, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, North Central Washington Tech Allegiance, and for having me today. And thank you, everybody that's here today, and for wanting to create safer and more affirming spaces for all folks in North Central Washington. So thank you, everybody. Bye, you all.